The first thought I had when I woke up was that Hieronymus was going to be mad at me. And to be honest, he had every reason to be. I should have come to him first and told him that Pastel was blackmailing Beige, but he hadn't been feeling well, and I thought that I was an adult and that I could handle it on my own. But, of course, I was young, and I was immature, and I was wrong. Maybe if it had just been Pastel, I could have handled it, but I couldn't handle someone as dangerous as Kyo, and I had almost died because of it. There was still so much I had to learn. I had to learn more about picking my battles. I had to learn not to keep putting myself in dangerous situations. I had to learn to ask Hieronymus or teachers for help if I needed it, instead of insisting that I could solve everything on my own. Maybe if I had told Hieronymus what was going on with Musette, he would have been able to help me. Instead, I decided that I could figure everything out on my own. I had so many questions. Did I really come close to dying all over again? Was Hieronymus mad at me for putting my life in danger? Would he want to end our relationship because I couldn't keep myself out of trouble? And most importantly, was I going to be expelled and lose my magic because I got into a duel with another student? As much as I didn't want to find out, I was going to need to learn my fate eventually. Slowly, hesitantly, I open my eyes and blink as I take in my surroundings. It's not until I hear a heavy snore from above me that I realize that Hieronymus is lying in bed with me. It looks like he fell asleep, cradling me in his arms, my head against his shoulder. I must have slipped down into his lap sometime during the night, but I don't dare adjust my position. Hieronymus was angry. No, furious. But maybe it wasn't with me. I thought he was angry at me, but maybe he was angrier with Kyo for hurting me. Why did I assume that he was going to be mad at me? Why did I always assume that he was going to take his anger out on me? He had done it before, yes, but he had been trying to be more patient with me, and I could tell how much he had matured in just a year. If anything, it was me who kept clinging to the past, still seeing Hieronymus as the crabby Professor Grabiner instead of my husband. And now I might lose him. And he was only holding me this way because he knew what was coming, because he knew that I was going to be expelled, and he wanted to hold me at least one last time before he never got to hold me in his arms ever again. Slowly, so as not to wake him, I pushed myself into a seated position so that I can rest my head on his shoulder again and wrap my arms around his middle. I can feel tears spilling out of my eyes as I realize how terrified I am to lose him. It's not just that, I'm afraid to lose my magic and my memories too, but this was Hieronymus. This was the person I was supposed to be spending the rest of my life with. Our future always seemed uncertain, but I had always felt secure in the knowledge that we would be facing it together. What would I do without him? What was he going to do without me? Tears spill down my face openly now, and I realize I might be holding Hieronymus for the last time. Part of me wants to run, but where would I run to? I don't know anyone. I could possibly try to appeal to Aloysius to see if he would protect me, but would he even get involved? Or would he make me owe him a favor so large it would make losing my magic seem more appealing by comparison? I know that I shouldn't be having these thoughts when I don't know for sure what my punishment is yet, but suddenly I'm terrified that I threw the past 3 years of my life away in the span of 2 minutes. Tori? Hieronymus stirs in his sleep, and I hold my breath, trying to keep myself calm. If anything, it has the opposite effect as I try to swallow a sob in my throat. What's wrong? He brushes my hair back out of my face. Why are you crying? Are you in pain? Are you mad at me? It's stupid how that's the first question that comes out of my mouth, but it does so automatically. I could try to make a case as to why I shouldn't be expelled, but if Hieronymus was angry with me, I wasn't sure what I could do about it. To his credit, he just chuckles as he brushes my hair out of my face. Why do you think I'd be mad at you? Daniel said you were mad, I explain, and to his credit, Hieronymous pauses to consider this. Not at you, Tori, he says quietly. Am I in trouble? I ask, my voice trembling with emotion. Am I going to be expelled? No, you're not, Hieronymous tells me, his voice soft but firm. Both Potsdam and I talked to Daniel about what happened to hear his side of events. We also looked at the memories from Miss Rao and Mr. Katsura to back up his account. Mr. Katsura insisted he was only acting in self-defense, but given the nature of his character, such a claim seemed dubious. I shake my head from side to side. Part of me wants to say that I can't believe Kyo would try to pin this on me, but then again, that was something I could actually believe. So what's going to happen to them? Do they have detention the rest of the year or something? Mr. Katsura has been expelled, Hieronymous says bluntly, and my jaw drops in shock. Do you remember when you sought my involvement between him and Miss Cochran your freshman year? He left her alone after I intervened, but his stalking and harassment were duly noted. He has been involved in other altercations with other students throughout the years as well. He has received multiple warnings, none of which seem to have made any impression. Since he is from a magical upbringing, his parents have been notified, but fortunately, as he is no longer a student at this institution, what they choose to do with him is no longer my concern. All you need to know is that he will lose his magic, his memories, and he will no longer be a threat to anyone. I pause and consider this. He should have just stayed out of it, I mutter. I don't even know why he attacked me. It had nothing to do with him. He could have graduated in a few short weeks, and now he completely lost his magic because he lost his temper. Some people do not deserve their magic, Hieronymous says bluntly. If anything, we should all be grateful he lost it now while he was still a student. If he lost his temper in the real world and used magic on unsuspecting victims, the fallout could have been much more severe. I just nod my head. He had a point, but I didn't want to think about anyone losing their magic and their memories, even someone that had seriously tried to hurt me. What about Pastel? What's her punishment going to be? There will be no punishment for her, unfortunately, Hieronymous mutters with a roll of his eyes. He sees the look on my face and is quick to explain. Miss Rao informed us that the only reason she kept trying to enlist Mr. Callister as a romantic partner was to keep Mr. Katsura at bay. She claims that he was stalking and harassing her as well. She is insisting she is also a victim, and what with her mother being who she is, there will be no punishment. Suffice it to say, although she is guilty of some truly unsavory comments and misdeeds, especially as far as Daniel is concerned, she did not cast any spells, nor did she harm anyone. That's true, I admit. I don't like what she said either, or what she did to Daniel, but what's done is done, I guess. I'm sorry you got dragged into this, Tori, Hieronymous says softly. This is my fault. Your fault? I asked blankly. How can it be your fault? Mr. Callister came to me some time ago asking what he should do if someone was blackmailing him, threatening to disclose his identity to the student body, Hieronymous explains. He posed it as a hypothetical, and I treated it as such, telling him that he was mature enough to handle it on his own. If he had been more forthcoming with the details, and if I had known the true extent of what was going on, I would have intervened immediately. I know you would have, I say softly, taking his hand in mine. You would have helped protect him just like you protected Minnie from Kyo my freshman year. Even though you're gruff with students when you're up in front of the classroom, I really like how big of a heart you have and how much you want to help people. Yes? Well? Hieronymous blushes as he kisses me on the temple. Enough about them. I want to focus on you, Tori. How are you feeling? I just shake my head as I look down at my hands, which still bear the cuts and scars of Kyo's curse. I don't understand what happened to me. Virginia said it was a curse. What did he do to me? Miss Danson is, unfortunately, correct, Hieronymous says with a sigh. It is a curse, and as such, your scars cannot be healed with green magic. When I arrived, I was able to immediately stop the bleeding, but please understand, although the experience must have been painful and frightening, there was never any chance that you were in mortal danger. You mean I wasn't going to die? I ask blankly, and Hieronymous shakes his head. I remember having a really weird dream after I passed out, and I thought I was in the afterlife or something. Hieronymous just snorts as he shakes his head. No, but you did black out from the pain. Mr. Katsura was still a student, and he did not command the strength required to make the curse as fatal as it is usually intended. I wish I could just get through 1 year without almost dying, I say as I mope into his shoulder. Okay, maybe I wasn't really going to die, but it felt like it at the time. I'm very proud of you, Tori, Hieronymous ventures, and I raise an eyebrow as I turn to him. You stood up for Daniel, and you used your magic to try to de-escalate the conflict. Then you protected him, as I asked you to do. I just wish it wasn't in the literal sense. Trust me, so do I snort. To be honest, I wasn't really thinking about it. I just knew Kyo cast a spell at Daniel, and I had to protect him. It was a split-second decision. I was all out of magic, so I just knew I had to block the spell with my body. It was the only thing I can think of. I pause. I thought you would have been mad at me for putting myself in harm's way. I'm angry that we tolerated a violent individual's behavior at the school under the guise of adolescent angst for as long as we did, Hieronymous says, but it is in your nature to look out for your friends. You are selfless, Tori. I have always known that about you, and it is one of the reasons why I love you so much. I can't help but smile as I reach up and kiss him. He kisses me back when suddenly a terrifying thought occurs to me. Quickly, I jump out of the bed and rush over to the bathroom, flicking on the lights as I brush my hair back out of my face. My face, my arms, my hands, my neck, they are all covered with horrible cuts and scratches. I can't help but let a shuddering sob rise to my chest as I look over myself. It literally looked like I had almost died, or perhaps crawled through an extremely thorny rosebush. Tori! Hieronymous comes to the doorway, and I try to shut the door on him, but he blocks it with magic. Don't, I say quickly as I cover my face with my arms. Please, Hieronymous, please don't look at me like this. I look really messed up. I don't want you to see me like this. See you like what? He asks. His voice is gentle, and he takes my wrists as he pulls my arms away from my face. Regardless, I keep my eyes shut tight. Tori, look. I don't want to, but his voice is gentle and coaxing, and I eventually open my eyes as I glance in the bathroom mirror. My scars are gone, and my skin looks clean and unblemished. What did you do? I ask blankly. I thought you said the scars can't be fixed with green magic. They can't, Hieronymous replies simply, but you can use blue magic to alter your perception of yourself. Oh, right. I look back at myself in the mirror. I had used a mix of blue and green magic to change my hair color, but for some reason it never occurred to me that it could be used to hide bruises and cuts too. So I have to use blue magic to cover up the scars every time I go outside now? They aren't scars yet, Tori, Hieronymous informs me. Remember, these are fresh wounds. It hasn't even been a day yet. Your injuries cannot be healed with green magic, but your skin will heal given enough time. I shake my head. I just don't want you to look at me and see that. Tori, whenever I look at you, I never see your scars or your faults, he says gently. I only see my very beautiful, very adoring wife who always puts others before herself and who works tirelessly to make me happy. I know he's only saying this to comfort me, but I can't help but smile anyway. Since I was attacked again this year, do you think Potsdam is going to let me skip out on the final again? Hieronymous rolls his eyes dramatically, and I can't help but giggle. Not a chance.